Hi guys, welcome back to lesson number 6 of our area, volume and perimeter. Now guys, today what we're going to have a look at is trapezoidal's rule, and we're going to be looking at estimating the area under a curve. So guys, in strand number 3, if you pop over to page number 96, and we're going to start from there. Now guys, to start off with, what we're going to look at is just take a moment on page 96. Now on page 96, what you're going to notice is there's actually a page there, it's photocopied straight out of the log tables. If you don't have it in front of you, obviously open your log tables up and you'll see it there on page number 12. Now, what we're going to be using this formula for, which you'll see here, looks quite long and a little bit daunting, but it's actually quite nice, is we're going to be using it to estimate the area under a curve, okay? Now, when we look at this curve here, this is exactly what you're going to see, or next best thing to what you're going to see in your notes, okay? You're going to see y1, y2, y3, 4, and then finally yn. You're going to also see the letter h to describe the width between each. Now, when we're using this rule, we need to make sure each of the widths here are the exact same, okay? So they're the same width, they're equal one another. So each of them is labelled h. Now, I'm not going to do that, but just for yourself. y1 is always going to be the first height, okay? yn is always going to be the end height. But because every single curve is different, we don't know what in will be next for each question. It will vary from question to question. So in the next question, it could be y6, it could be y22, okay? So it'll just vary for us. Now, we'll have a look at the formula here. A stands for the area of h here. H is going to be our width here, okay? So h is your width. And remember, it's a common width throughout. Over 2, my square bracket, y1. y1 is always going to be my height. Okay, so this is y1 here. So that's going to be my first height. yn is going to be, as you'll see here, my last height. Plus 2 times y2 plus y3, so basically everything in between here. So the remaining heights in between here. And you'll see at the last point here, it says yn minus 1. That just reflects your second last height, okay? Bracket, and then my square bracket's closed. Now guys, there's no point in me dwelling over the formula for too long, okay? So the best thing for us to do is actually get straight into a question, and we're going to do 2. So over on page number 97, you're going to see exercise 8.1, your very first exercise here. Now, for this exercise here, you should see the diagram which I have there. Now, my diagram might look a little bit dodgier than yours. That's absolutely perfect. I tried my best, okay? So, God loves a trier. Now, with regards to this here, let's look at our question. So, what our question asked here, it says, using trapezoidal rule, to highlight the word trapezoidal rule, estimate the area of the following shape. Now notice it says estimate. So we're never going to get the exact height, or the exact area I should say. Just we're going to estimate it here. And it says hence the first height is 0. So for us not to make a mistake. Now when we're starting off here to find the area under the curve, the first thing we'll always do, okay, always do it, is we'll write down our formula, okay? So it's very important every single time they're telling us we're using trapezoidal's rule, so we're going to write down the formula for it. So our formula here for the area is equal to h over 2 bracket y1 plus yn, so my first term plus my last term, plus 2 times bracket y2 plus y3 plus everything in between up as far as your second last term. Now, before you start writing everything into this here, it's a good idea to take a second and look at your diagram and see what you can label. Now you're going to notice here, this is H. H stands for your width, okay? And remember, although my diagram may not seem it, it's a common width throughout. So each width in between there is 8 meters. Now with regards to your heights, okay, so y1, y2, y3, y4 and so on. Your first height here, and they give us that little hint for y1, is 0, okay? As you'll see, have a look at the curve there, it starts from the very bottom. We have y2, y3, y4, y5, y6, y7, and finally our last term, y8. So y8 we refer to as y in also, our last term. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a minute and we're going to plug this straight into our formula, so step by step, nice and slowly. So here our area is equal to, okay, H, the width is 8, over 2, my square bracket. Y1, we said Y1 here, and maybe mark it in for yourself, is 0. Plus Y in, which remember is my in term, my last term. Here it's Y8, is 8, so 8 meters. So remember, that's not because it's Y8, it's because the height there is 8 meters. Plus 2 times everything in between, so all these terms here. So we have 8 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 12 plus my second last term, which is 11. Close my curved bracket and my square bracket. Now, once you have that done, that's a huge amount of the work done. Take a second, make sure you have each of the terms in. Now, moving on from there, what we have to do. Now, I would advise you to do this step by step, okay? And then maybe you might plug the whole lot into the calculator just to confirm for yourself what you've done. So here I'm going to start. 2 into 8. Now, I don't have to do this, I can leave this to the end, but it's a nice easy fraction, so I'm just going to simplify it. 2 into 8 goes 4 times, so 4. My square bracket. Now 0, so 0 is just going to disappear for us. 8 plus 2 bracket. Now a huge mistake people make is they say 8 plus 2, they'll write down 10, but this is 8 plus, and it's 2 times all of this. You have to multiply out all of this prior to adding it to 8, okay? So be very, very cautious of that. So everything inside this bracket, which is going to give me 64. Close my bracket, close my curved bracket. Now, working from there step by step, 4 bracket 8 plus. Now, the next thing I'm going to get out is my 2 times my 64, okay? So what I did previously was just add these together, got 64. I'm going to say 2 times 64. So 2 times 64 is going to give me 128. Close my bracket. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add 8 plus 128. So 4 times 8 plus 128 is going to give me 136. Close my bracket. Finally, 4 times 136. 4 times 136 is going to give me 544. Now, I'm just going to write down my units. In case if we look at the question, it's going to be meters. And because we're discussing the area, it is squared, okay? Now, that there is an estimate. So I'm going to say area is equal to, I'm not going to put that perfect equals to sign, I'm going to put my little curly one here to show it's an estimate, is estimated to be 544 meters squared. Okay, now guys, Really important you go step by step. And the biggest mistake, as I said, that people will make is they'll say 8 plus 2 and they'll say 10. You can't do that. Your rules of BIMDAS don't allow you to do that. So multiply what's in the bracket first, multiply that by the 2, and then do your addition inside the square brackets. Now guys, that's question 8.1. I'd advise you to pause, maybe try to do the exact same question again. Also, you can move on to question 8.2. Now in question 8.2, what you'll see is there's 2 curves. So what you're going to do is you're going to find them separately and then add your 2 results together. Now, just because we're on a time limit here, I'm going to pop over to 8.3 on the next board. Now, have a look here at 8.3, what we're going to say here. So just cross the page here for ourselves. So again, what they ask us to do, they say highlight the words trapezoidal rule was used to find the area of the shape below. And the results was 200 meters squared. Calculate the length marked X. Now here, and I'm going to take a look at my diagram to start off. What they actually tell us to start off with here is they tell me that the area is approximately 200, and I'm just going to double check my units, meters squared. So that is the area under that curve, okay? Now, they give us all these heights, and just one height that I should say width I didn't put in was just this one here, which is 5 meters. It's all in meters there. So they give us the diagram, they give us the answer to the area under it, and instead this time, what they actually ask us to find is they ask me to find the height X there, okay? But they tell me the rule that they use. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to start off with writing down my rule and letting it equal my answer. So here to start off for the word area, the area using our rule is H over 2 square bracket y1 plus yn plus 2 times y2 plus y3 plus dot 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 plus my second last term yn minus 1, close my brackets. Now I know when I fill that in, that's going to equal to 200 meters squared. Now my job is to find the term X. Now before I start filling in, it's very, very important, just notice I popped down twice, so 3. Just the first thing you should do before you ever put anything in is make sure you can label your diagram. So come over here and get in the habit of labeling it. If you don't label, you're just kind of showing your examiner you're a little bit lazy, okay? And it means you're going to, more than likely in the exam, if you're not used to labeling, you're going to make a mistake, okay? A simple mistake. So here, H is 5 meters. We have y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, y6, and finally my last one, y7. Now all I do from there is I'm going to fill it directly into my formula. So I'm going to kind of move over a little bit as I do, tighten it up. So here, H, as we see here, is 5 meters. So 5 over 2. Open my bracket, y1, my first term here is 7.5. Plus yn, my last term is 9.5. Plus 2 times everything in between. So here we have 6 plus 5 plus 8.5 plus x, which is what we're looking for, plus 4.5, my second last term, okay? Close my brackets and let it equal to 200 meters squared. Now, my next step is just to tidy up, and as I said, I'm going to actually pull this quite a bit across, just to give myself a little bit more space. Now, when I'm tidying up, the first thing I'm going to do is add up what I have here. So what I have inside the curved bracket, so 6 plus 5 plus 8.5 plus x plus 4.5. Everything else is going to be copied and pasted for the moment. So I have 5 over 2, open my bracket, and I'm going to actually cheat, okay? I'm going to add up two things at the same time. I'm going to add my 7.5 and 9.5, okay? Now, I don't add the 2, remember that's connected to the bracket. So I'm going to say 7.5 plus my 9.5 here, okay? So here, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get 17 plus 2 times. Now, I have this pre-ready, so I've added everything inside the bracket, and I get 24 plus x inside the bracket, close my bracket, close my square bracket. Let it equal to 200 meters squared. Now from there, I'm going to tidy up as I have before. So I need to multiply this bracket out by 2, add on my 17, and multiply the whole lot by 5 over 2. Now when I get that done, and I'm just going to kind of, I suppose, try to speed myself up ever so slightly here. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply out. So I'm going to try to speed myself up just ever so slightly. I'm going to get my calculator, 30 seconds. So I'm going to have 5 over 2, open my bracket. Now 17 plus 2, plus what I'm going to do is multiply out this bracket. 2 times 24 and 2 times x. 2 times 24 is going to give me 48. 2 times x is going to give me 2x. Close my bracket here. Let it equal to 200 meters squared. Now, my next step is I'm going to add up what's inside this bracket here. So what I'm going to get here is I'm going to have my 5 over 2. Open my bracket, I'm going to have my 17 plus 48, and I'm going to get out 65 plus 2x, open my bracket, is approximately 200. Now guys, I'm going to pause there for a second. I'm just going to wipe off the board behind me and going to be back to you in 2 seconds. So guys, continuing on from the last part here, which I have noted up on the board. So here we have 5 over 2, bracket 65 plus 2x, bracket equals 200. Now I'm going to work from here. So what I'm actually going to do to get rid of my fractions, I don't like my fractions, before I start multiplying this out, I'm actually going to multiply the left hand side by 2. So I'm going to multiply the left hand side by 2 to get rid of my fractions. Now if I multiply the left hand side, it means I also have to multiply the right hand side by 2 as well. So what I'm going to get here is 2 into 2 goes once. So on the left hand side, I'm going to be left with 5 bracket 65 plus 2x equals 2 times 200 is going to give me 400. Now I'm going to multiply out this bracket here just to simplify everything a little bit more. So I'm going to say 5 times 65, so 65 times 5 is going to give me 325. So 325 plus 5 times 2 is going to give me 10x equals to 400. Now, here what we want to get is x on its own. So I'm going to take this 325 and I'm going to bring it across the equals to sign. Now, what I'm going to have here is 10x is equal to 400. And when I take this 325 across, what happens to it, as we know, the sign is a positive here, it's going to change to a minus 325. Here, adding up 400 minus 325, I'm going to have 10x equals to 400 minus 325 is going to leave me with 75. Finally, the last thing I need to do is get x on its own. I don't want that 10 there. That's 10 multiplied by x. The opposite to multiply is divide. divide both sides by the term in front of the x. So here, dividing both sides by 10, 10 into 10 goes once, 10 into 75 goes 7.5 times. So my answer here is x is equal to 7.5, and my units, which we had earlier on, I'm just going to double check, was meters. Now guys, that there is my value for x. Quite a long sum, particularly with the amount of space that was left for us. But remember, every single step you're going to do is going to allow your examiner to give you more marks. So taking it step by step, remembering your rules of BIMDAS, and your algebra. Really, you're adding, you're subtracting, multiplying, dividing here. All your rules of algebra are very, very important here. Now guys, that's the end of lesson number 6. You'll see there is a question 8.2 for you to try, and also question number 1 in the past exam questions in your notes is a really good one to try before the next lesson. See you later guys.